Welcome to Game 1 of our Tournament of Champions here, the best of the best in the state of Illinois here at the Nordlof Center in Rockford to compete for the next 8 weeks. Our first game is the Vikings versus the Comets. It's Fremd against Newman Central, and we begin with a buzz-in round. Contestants, these questions are worth 10 points apiece. If you know the answer, go ahead and buzz in. Wait for me to call your name. That's important. Wait for me to call your name. If you get it right, you earn your team some points. If not, the other team gets a chance to steal your 10, and we'll get through as many of these questions as we can in the time allotted. Hands on your buzzers for the first question in this week's buzz-in round. What musical, whose songs include Monster and Colder by the Minute, is based on a Disney film? Shannon.
Frozen.
That is correct, in which Anna's sister Elsa sings Let It Go, actually one of the hottest tickets on Broadway right now. Newman, you're first on the board with 10 points. What film director, best known for his fantasy films, also directed the 2005 remake of King Kong and an adaptation of the novel The Lovely Bones?
Shyamalan.
Danny?
Shyamalan.
Incorrect. Newman Central, you have a chance to take these 10. He's probably better known for that fantasy series that he won a whole bunch of awards for, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and that director is Peter Jackson. No points. New question for both teams. Milton Friedman and Edmund Phelps posited the concept of a natural rate of what phenomenon? David.
Unemployment.
That is correct. The official measure in the U.S. is known as U3, and you've got 10 more points, Newman. A 3,000-mile gap between the A and B sections of the rings of Saturn is named for what Italian astronomer? Liam.
Cassini.
That is correct. Also the name of a famous spacecraft that studied Saturn. That's 10 more points. Lineweaver-Burke plots are used to study the kinetics of what molecules whose names generally end in ASE and act, Brian?
Enzymes.
That is correct. They act as biological catalysts. Fremd, you are now on the board. Danny was excited about those 10 points. Let's get a new question on. What former Moscow mayor became the first president of Russia in 1991? Brian?
Yeltsin.
That is correct. He left, named as Prime Minister Vladimir Putin as president. And you've got 10 more points, Fremd. What composer dedicated his Les Tombeaux de Couperin? Danny?
Ravel.
That is correct. To his friends killed in World War I, we now have a tie game. Ants crawl over a pocket watch in the... Danny?
The Persistence of Memory.
That is correct. You gambled on that one. I could have asked for the artist or the painting. The artist was Salvador Dali. We needed to know the painting, and you are now in the lead by 10. What five-letter noun refers to one of the classical styles of column, a synonym for a command, or a taxonomic level above family and below class? Devin?
Order.
That is correct, and that's 10 more points. What Alberta city hosts a 10-day rodeo and festival called the Stampede? David?
Calgary.
That is correct. Billed as the greatest outdoor show on earth, and you've got 10 more points. What halogen, first isolated from seaweed ash by Bernard Courtois, is commonly used as a medical disinfectant and forms a violet diatomic gas? Brian?
Iodine.
Iodine is correct. You got that right before the buzzer, and that's 10 more points. The title sailor travels farther and farther east to escape the shame of abandoning pilgrims on the damaged ship Patna in what novel by Danny?
Lord Jim.
That is correct. That novel is by Joseph Conrad, and you've got 10 more points. What band whose singer claimed East is Up in the song Nico and the Niners? Stella?
21 Pilots.
That is correct. You didn't even need the most obvious clue about their album Blurry Face, and that's 10 points. Heat is not transferred between a system and its surroundings in what type of thermodynamic process? Brian?
Adiabatic.
Adiabatic is correct, right at the buzzer, as opposed to diabatic. And that's all the time we have for this round. 10 more points for you, Fremd. You end with that question. You've got 90 now. Newman Central, you have 40, but both of you played this game before. You know that there's plenty of points left on the board. And we'll get to our next round, which is the volleyball round, right after this break. We'll see you then.